As our MT Top 40 look at the best football players in Montana history shifts from the defense to the offensive line, where of course we've seen some great players in Treasure State history. All-Conference, All-State at the high school level, then All-Conference, All-American in college, and all the way to the National Football League in the pros. Number 5 takes us back to the late 1960s to get our start. Former Great Falls CMR turned Montana Western Montana Grizzlies standout, Barry Darrow.
Barry and I played together. We graduated from high school the same year. He played at CMR, I played at Butte High. He went to Western Montana College out of high school and transferred after a year.
Darrow grew up in Deer Lodge but went to CMR and graduated in 1968. Played just 13 games for the Rustlers under then coach Sonny Holland, but he was 6'6" and athletic, so he got the opportunity at Western Montana College. You now know it, of course, as Montana Western, but spent just one season there at right tackle, then transferred to the University of Montana in Missoula, and he had immediate success. Grabbed a starting spot on the offensive line in 1970, and UM went 10-1 that season. That lone loss came to North Dakota State and Sacramento.
We were running the wishbone. Barry was an offensive guard. Our guards were like 6'6" and 6'7", and pretty good athletes. Barry had good feet. I mean, we had to run athletes back then, offensive linemen, like we kind of had going through, you know, the middle to late 90s, or middle 90s through the 90s. Whole bunch of kids that were All-Americans that had a chance to play in the NFL.
Darrow finished his UM career starting at guard in 71 and 72. Those were his All-American years, blocking for running back Steve Caputo, who had 6.43 yards per carry and over 100 yards per game in 71. And he totaled 1,253 yards. That's the 6th best single season in Grizz history. Darrow, of course, a big part of it. He was then selected by the San Diego Chargers in the 17th round of the 1973 draft, but knee injuries, just like they did in high school, would once again slow his career, but he caught on with the Cleveland Browns in 1974. Midway through the 75 season, he moved into the starting lineup at right tackle, and he stayed there throughout the 78 season before retiring in 1979 and moving back home to Big Sky Country.
Really good group of offensive linemen. And you know, I think that's the key. Guys like Barry, who were surrounded by really good guys as well, it gave them a little bit of latitude and really helped them, I think, become dominating when they were big enough and strong enough and good enough athletically to not have to rely on a tackle coming down and helping them and things like that, particularly in the wishbone that we were running at that time.
Number 5 on the O-line, Barry Darrow, as we continue counting them down to the #1 offensive lineman in Montana history. Tune into MontanaSports.com throughout the rest of the week. Richie Melby, MTN Sports.